Hi, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority, with a little snippet or fireside chat. It's about coffee. I'm drinking coffee. Sometimes I don't drink coffee. Sometimes I drink other things. We're going to talk about some coffee substitutes. But if you're going to drink coffee, is it good? And what's the best coffee to drink? The stuff that kind of comes in a can that you put in your percolator and the Folgers and other stuff, that's junk. It really is. If you're going to buy coffee, the best coffee to buy is a whole bean that you then have ground, or you have a grinder. Even better is to buy the green beans and then have a roaster. You can take them to a roaster. A lot of communities have a roaster, a community roaster, or you can buy a little roaster, and that's the ultimate best, which is super fresh green beans. Now, why is coffee good? Coffee is high in what's called antioxidants, polyphenols, all of these great things. Let's first start off with what is an antioxidant. An antioxidant is a plant or even animals that face lots of sunshine or even hard conditions, dry, arid, these types of things. So the things that grow, especially sunshine. So the rule of thumb is if it's a plant that has plant or fruit that has lots of color in it, bright red, bright green, or even dark, that means that it has more antioxidants. Why? Because it's kind of like a suntan, because it's developing a protection mechanism against the gamma X-ray radiation and all this other stuff that's coming from the sun. But what an antioxidant is a plant taking things from the ground and turning it into, instead of a protection, and in fact, it's a strength. So now when I face that negative thing, it actually makes me stronger. So consuming the antioxidants actually donates that into our body. And many people, that's why they feel good on coffee. It's not just the caffeine. There's caffeine in it. It's a stimulant. It's also an adaptogen. So it's been used throughout forever. But it's also hot and warming and all these other things. And I'll get into a minute about what are the substitutes. And sometimes, too, for some people, it's the mix-ins that they put in. It's the cream, it's the sugar, and that type of stuff. And so, if we're dealing with weight issues and sugar issues, you need to learn how to drink black coffee or go to one of these substitutes. Okay, so, but then what's the harmful things about coffee? Okay, coffee can be very acidic. It is very acid forming, and if we tend to be too acidic in our body, and some of the acidic conditions would be arthritis and these types of things, you need to avoid coffee. It's too hard. And then people with kidney problems, because when you drink coffee, coffee is dark, right? Well, when you urinate, that dark doesn't come out. When people urinate, it's clear or yellow. So where does that color go? It goes into your kidneys. And I like this rule of thumb that Dr. McCullough talked about, which is, how do you know if coffee is good for you or if it's bad for you? It's bad for you if when you first urinate, the very first time after you drink coffee, if you don't smell some coffee smell or a different type of smell. If it just smells like nothing, then really you should not be drinking coffee. If you have a coffee kind of smell in your urine afterward, that means your kidneys are filtering out. So that's a good rule of thumb in terms of, well, maybe I should back off on coffee. Okay. The other thing too is the caffeine that's in it. Now, people can go to decaffeinated coffee. However, some of the chemicalized decaffeination actually damages it and leaves some chemicals in it. There's a Swedish process called the water process. I'm still not a big fan of it. So what could we drink instead of coffee? Okay. Now, there's a couple things in terms of if a person goes, I want something to taste like coffee, feel like coffee. There's some good coffee substitutes. One of the best coffee substitute is this stuff called Dandy Blend. And Dandy Blend it's a roasted dandelion root, which is it has some roasted chicory root in it too, a couple other herbs. But it tastes like coffee. It feels like coffee. It has like a real depth, richness. But the good thing about dandelion root is that it removes toxins out of your body. It really is a good detoxifier. So for sometimes when people are going through a detoxification, if you want to clear yourself out of coffee and then go on a detox, the Dandy Blend or roasted dandelion root is a great way to do it. Tea is also, whether we get into black tea or we get into now, tea has some caffeine in it, but about half the amount. It also has lots of polyphenols in it and all this other stuff. So tea is another really good substitute. Then there's a couple other things in terms of if you're going for that kind of coffee taste. This stuff called mud water. which is it has mushrooms and a whole bunch of other things in it that give this, which are really good for your health, but it gives a good kind of coffee flavor, type of thickness and richness. There's another one, chai tea. Chai tea, a lot of people, now if we want to get into the mix-ins, a lot of times people use these chai teas and then they'll add the milk to it and they'll add some other stuff into it and it makes it very, delicious and sugary and whatever. So, but then there's a couple other things that we can go for. The turmeric, so there's what's called a golden milk, and the milk is actually coconut milk. And then it has turmeric in it and all this other stuff. We get into some other things in terms of, like, say, bone broth. And then another thing is, like, not coffee at all, but just, let's say, hot water with lemon or hot water with some apple cider vinegar in it, some cayenne pepper, a couple of, these are a tonic, a stimulative. But see, it mimics also one of the reasons why people like tea or coffee first thing in the morning is it's warm, it stimulates you, it gets the bowels moving. Many people say, I can't go to the bathroom unless I can't have a good bowel movement unless I drink my coffee. Well, sometimes it's not the coffee as a stimulant, it's the hot, it's the warm. And bone broth is one of these things that can be drank warm. And as I said, a good morning tonic is in place of even tea or chai tea would be hot water with, let's say, a half a lemon in it, a little bit, pinch of salt, a little bit of some cayenne pepper, just a little bit if you don't like the hot. We can also add a little bit of maple syrup in it to sweeten it up. It adds minerals in it. You can add a little bit of honey in it. So you can kind of make it the way that you want. But what people have noticed of the coffee, the tea, this, is it's also kind of a ritual, is that it stirs things up and it warms your guts up and it warms your body up. It kind of gives you energy. So that's my take on coffee and also coffee substitutes. And if you want to go for them, go for them. They're probably a good way to do it. Okay? Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.